Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or if this is your first time here, hello and welcome. Today I'm sharing a cozy, warm what's for dinner. It's that time of year for good comfort food, so I will share 3 recipes plus a delicious cake recipe at the end. With cooler weather, it's got me in the mood to bake, so tell me if you like when I throw in a dessert, or would you just prefer to see all dinner recipes? Let me know down below. We're gonna go ahead and hop into the first one. This one is called spaghetti pie. I got the idea from Paula Dean's son, Jamie. He made this the other day and I thought it looked amazing. It's not your traditional spaghetti, so I thought it was something different to try, and I'm so glad we did because it's now a favorite. So I started out by boiling my spaghetti noodles. While I wait for those to boil, I'm gonna add 4 eggs to a mixing bowl. Give those a whisk, and then half a teaspoon crushed red pepper, 1½ cups heavy cream, 1 cup mozzarella, ½ cup sun-dried tomatoes, 1/3 cup pesto, 2 cups Parmesan, 1 teaspoon salt, and a little black pepper. Jamie's recipe calls for Kalamata olives, but we omitted those. So just make a note that those are in the original recipe. And then I'm just going to mix this together really well. This recipe does call for a lot of ingredients, but I love that you just dump and go with all the ingredients. So as far as being easy to do, it's a really easy recipe. I cook my spaghetti al dente because they're about to cook more in the oven, so after I boiled them, I just rinsed them with cold water and then drained really well. You don't want your spaghetti watery, so definitely make sure they drain good. I'm just going to mix the pasta with the sauce mixture, and then we can pour it into the casserole dish. Jamie used a round skillet for this, but I didn't have one that I felt like was going to be deep enough, so I just pulled out a small casserole dish. And this recipe says to bake it on 350 for 30 minutes, but since my dish was deeper, I had to double the time, so mine cooked on 350 for about an hour, and I just kept checking it and made sure that when I stuck a toothpick into it that it came out clean. But this is the end result, and of course it's supposed to be round and you can cut it like a pie, but I'm just spooning mine out. This was absolutely delicious, and like I said, it's now a favorite. On the side, I just had a salad with tomatoes and sweet peppers. This next recipe is to die for. I thought this was going to be basic, to be honest, but it surprised me. If you try nothing else from this video, please try this one. The comfort level is a 10, the flavor is a 10, the way it makes the house smell is a 10, everything. So it's called Chicken and Biscuits Casserole. And the first thing I did was boil 1 boneless, skinless chicken breast. And I'm going to have the recipe down below, but just make a note that I did cut the recipe in half. To a skillet, I'm adding in a good tablespoon of butter, and then I'm going to saute half an onion that I've already chopped along with a few sweet peppers we had left over, and I just diced them up small. The recipe says you can use bell pepper, pimento, or jarred roasted red pepper, so I'm just using what I had on hand for that, which were the sweet peppers, and you just want to saute those until they're soft. When my chicken was done, I just cut it up into cubes, and now all we have to do is mix all of our ingredients together. So I'm spraying my dish, and to a mixing bowl I'm adding in the peppers and onions with 1 can cream of chicken, all of my chicken that is cooked and cubed, a 1/2 cup milk, 1/4 cup sour cream, a 1/2 cup frozen peas, a little salt and pepper, and then we're just gonna mix that together really well. I'm going to pour this into my baking dish, and this is going to bake for 15 minutes on 350. After that first 15 minutes, we can add some cheese to the top. And now I'm gonna also add the biscuits. The recipe says to use refrigerated, but I'm using frozen that I've thawed. And you could also make your own homemade biscuits if you wanted to. I think that would be even better. I'm sprinkling more cheese on top of those and returning it to the oven for 20 more minutes, or until your biscuits are done and golden brown. This is what it looks like coming out of the oven. I was expecting this to be more like a basic chicken pot pie with some biscuits on top, but it was actually 10 times better. The sauteed peppers and onions, the cheese, it was a big hit and one of my new favorite comfort foods. The last dinner recipe, and I'll share the cake I made this week. So I wanted to kind of replicate one of my favorite HelloFresh recipes and make these flautas. So there's no recipe to link. You can probably look it up on the HelloFresh, but I just kind of did a mix of my own thing and loosely followed the directions from HelloFresh. So I've already browned a pound of ground beef and seasoned it with taco seasoning, and I'm gonna do this in a casserole dish to save on messing up more dishes. But you just take some olive oil and you brush both sides of the tortillas. I'm using a spray and just spraying both sides. You'll then add meat and cheese and roll them up pretty tight and place them seam down into the dish. And I did this until I ran out of meat. I baked them at 425 for about 12 minutes. And while they were in the oven, I took some sour cream and I added fresh lime and I made it into like a drizzle consistency. You can also add a little water if you want, and that'll just make it a little bit thinner. And then I also added in a pinch of salt. When they came out of the oven, I added more cheese on top and some of the crema I made, along with green bell pepper, diced tomatoes, and a lime wedge on the side. Again, these were absolutely delicious. Now, moving on to the cake. This is one of those old-fashioned cake recipes that just takes you back in time to grandma's baking, but it's called Hummingbird Cake. So the first thing I'm doing is mashing up 3 bananas. I have 1 cup of pecans I'm going to chop as well, and some of these will go in the cake and some will be for the top. To my mixing bowl, I'm adding 3 cups all-purpose flour, 2 cups sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon baking soda, and a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. And we're just going to mix all of that together. While that's mixing, I'm going to add in 3 eggs, 1.5 cups vegetable oil, the bananas, a can of crushed pineapple, undrained, and my can was kind of small, but the recipe says to use 8 ounces. And then you just want to add 1.5 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to add just a few chopped pecans to the mixture and let all of that get incorporated well. The recipe also said to make 3 layers out of this, but I only had 2 pans, so I'm just making 2 layers and upping my cook time. But you just want to spray and flour your pans. I probably didn't have to flour since I'm using Baker's Joy, but I did anyways. So these are going to bake on 350, and if you're following the recipe and you make 3 9-inch layers, the cook time is 25 to 30 minutes. But I had 2 layers that were a bit thicker, so I had to up my cook time to about a total of 45 minutes. While those are baking, I'm going to start on my frosting. You will need 2 sticks of butter softened, 1 16-ounce package cream cheese, 4 cups powdered sugar, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And that's it. You just whip it together until it's smooth. When my cake came out of the oven, I let it cool for about 10 minutes in the pan, and then I removed them and let them finish completely cooling before I iced them. And I just made little swirls at the top to make it a little pretty, and then I sprinkled more of the pecans on top, and that completed this cake. I think this is the perfect dessert to add to a Thanksgiving dinner. It was dense and it had a really good flavor. But that's going to wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, let me know if you like to see desserts in these videos, or would you rather just see dinners? Let me know down below. Before you go, leave a fall themed emoji down in the comments below. A leaf, a pumpkin, whatever you want to leave. Just so I'll know you were here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.